Hey there, this is meteorologist Jamie Singleton. It's your daily weather map discussion for Wednesday night, the 6th of May, 2020. I'm going to try to do these earlier in the day. Sometimes I get on some odd sleeping patterns, especially after I stay up late for severe weather events. We've had quite a few of those. But anyway, I'm ordering some equipment for the home office and I should be able to do these faster and more frequently earlier in the day as well. Let's check out our pattern here. We've got several troughs, shortwave troughs across the Northeast. We've also got our big upper low that's still here. This is lurking up across the Hudson Bay for the weekend, and this is the polar vortex that will come down and bring with it all that cold air. Back off to the west coast here, we've got an impressive system that's come on shore across the Pacific here. Now it's in western Montana with some 50 to 55 mile per hour winds, a dust storm earlier, rain and snow in Montana. So it's an exciting time of it around the Billings area. We're also looking at a big ridge and a lot of heat building out here with temperatures today and tomorrow are going to be up around 100 to 107 degrees. Even at this hour, it's 102 degrees in Phoenix. So it's hot out here, and usually when it's hot here, it's colder on the other part of the country, and that's exactly what's going on. Temperatures across a good part of the mid-Atlantic are only in the 40s, and even down across the south here, it's cool for Alabama. It's cool for Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. It's 53 in Atlanta. So much for hot Atlanta. I can remember going to school at UNC Asheville, which is a mountainous area. It's nice and cool for this time of the year. But I can remember May in our graduation. We graduated in 2000, which was pretty cool. But that day was one of the hottest, and I think it was like May 10th. It was scorching for Asheville. It was like 90 some degrees and just unbelievably hot. Now we're within a week of when I graduated, lengthwise in the calendar there, uh, 20 years ago. And here we are talking about snow. We've had some snow flurries up in West Virginia this evening. Those have since tapered off for the most part. Now, what happens a lot of times is the radar doesn't pick this stuff up, but I don't see anything even on the composite as a switch over here that's showing me anything right now. But I did have some a viewer, somebody over in Highland County, send me some flurries earlier on Twitter, and you can see temperatures are just a hair above freezing. So all throughout this area, it's already cold enough for the plants to be brought inside as we go through the night tonight. And still some lingering clouds and showers again. You know, they had storms again in South Carolina today, north of Columbia to around Florence. Some hail, not nearly as big as it has been, not nearly as severe as it has been, but that's now off the coast, off North Carolina here, east of Newport and Greenville. So we'll back it back up here, and you can see that's the overall pattern. So the ridge out west with an impressive shortwave coming across it right now, that's going to probably be involved in helping to amplify this trough. Here's the lightning picture with the surface features superimposed here. And we've got one front with the active pattern like this. You get these fronts that sit out here over the ocean. So there's one, two, and they just stack up really. This is the big one that's coming in for the weekend. And again, with that, we do have some chilly air. Temperatures only in the teens and the 20s up here in Canada. Can't quite see my temperature still there, but that's the wrap analysis. Only goes up there on the software, but it's cold up here. You can see the actual readings, 10 degrees, single digits, 3, 0, 1. This looks like a January map. We've had it like this in January. It's been like this in January. When you get a mild January, you get that cold up to the north. And it's just really interesting to see this. So let's get rid of the METARs and to show you the system as a whole. It's mainly dry now, with the exception of the coastal system and the system out in Montana. So it's mainly a temperature game, but we are going to start to see this bring some unsettled weather to the east for Friday. And then ahead of that, tomorrow out here, it's going to be active across the Oklahoma, Wichita Falls area, north of Dallas, between Dallas and Oklahoma City, Red River Valley. I was just looking at some of that data, and I'll show it to you right now. So this is the Storm Prediction Center ensemble viewer, and you've got all kinds of different members here that we'll go through, but just to give you an idea of what's going on, we'll just advance through it. And you can see the circulation off the coast and over in Pennsylvania with our system, the cold system. It's been moving through the area today. And then as we go through tomorrow, this is Thursday at about 8 p.m. in the east, 6 central. You can see impressive supercells here showing up on the model and helicity tracks along the Red River Valley here. So this will have to be watched for severe weather. And if you move across the different members here, you can see general agreement. This model's a little older. This is the NMMB, which shows again kind of a explosion of storms here going on into Texas and Oklahoma by your Thursday evening. And you can see how the rain and snow, this will more than likely be rain transitioning over in the snow, moves east with our very strong front here moving through. Look at precipitation type. You can see that in the east, had the snow this evening. And now here comes our next system out of Montana. It digs down and starts to spark the severe weather. And then by the time it moves east, you've got the snow on the north edge of that advancing on through the area. So that's impressive to see that for sure. This is how the fronts will stack up here on the Weather Prediction Center site. As we go through the day Thursday, high pressure building in. There's your Arctic front. Arctic or polar. I don't know. I want to call it Arctic, but I'll just call it polar. And then you've got our system in Montana here, some snow, Wyoming and the Montana. Then, again, as I mentioned, 0Z Friday, which is Thursday evening. Here's a lifting warm front. You've got the dry line back in through here, West Texas. You've got a cold front behind that. And right along the dry line, you're probably going to see some supercell development, some classic Southern Plains severe weather, Tornado Alley severe weather breakout. Maybe not too many supercells, but we'll see. It's a slight risk down there for the convective outlook. Then that moves east into Arkansas and Memphis, getting into Louisiana and Texas for Friday morning. Everything links together here. So our Arctic front and our system in Montana, as I mentioned, it's going to help to absorb that in the whole pattern here, the whole trough. You've got a 1032, 1031 high building in behind this, so there's going to be a lot of wind on the back side of this throughout the Central Plains. And you've got precipitation that meets that cold air, and it's snowing in Michigan by Friday morning, and in the Finger Lakes region of New York Friday. That front moves through the eastern part of the country here, coming up for Friday afternoon, with showers and storms likely along and just ahead of the front. And then a low pressure wave develops on the front, which could enhance precipitation a little bit through northern Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, Greenbrier Valley of West Virginia, Potomac Highlands here, and northern Appalachians as you go across New England here. It's going to start snowing real big, fat, wet snowflakes across upstate New York, I think, Friday night. That'll continue in the Saturday morning as the system continues to wrap moisture around it. For the rest of us, it's going to get windy, and here comes this high pressure area. It's not like a super Arctic high where the pressures get up around 1055 millibars with those. This is just some cold air for this time of the year anyway. And we see that in the process of that wind moving in the cold and the up and down motions there, the downward force across the mountains here will bring a lot of wind down. Sunday, a second front moves in. Mother's Day is going to start out cold because you've got high pressure over North Carolina, and you're going to have some light winds and clear skies through here. So let me back it up. So Friday night going into Saturday, temperatures are going to fall to around freezing in the mountains of Virginia, North Carolina, and the West Virginia, okay, and then areas to the north. But that will also be with a wind. So there'll be some lower wind chills. Now, Sunday morning is a different story. It's going to be even colder, but there won't be any wind. But for gardeners, you're going to definitely, the strawberry farmers and anybody growing anything will probably need to do the thing where they put the sprinkle a little bit of water at night and keep that process of latent heat being released as the water freezes onto the plants to protect them there. Or buckets in some of the backyards of some homeowners too, protecting the tomato plants and the cucumbers and all that stuff, because it's some kind of cold snap here coming up for Mother's Day morning. Mother's Day afternoon is going to warm back up. And then for Monday, you get another surge of cool air, another fresh supply here. And I've noticed that in my area of Virginia, models are now trending colder with next week now. So Monday and Tuesday don't look nearly as warm as it did just a few days ago when in the Roanoke area, I was looking at temperatures lower 70s, upper 60s. Now it's looking like lower 60s on day 5. So the models trended 10 degrees cooler in just a couple of days. Next Tuesday, it's mainly clear. You've got kind of the same pattern in place here. And then as we go into Wednesday, look, another system comes in through Montana. High pressures over the east, relatively cool high pressure, and some precipitation down across Florida and in the Midwest. Here's how it looks on the upper level chart, and I've been calling this the fidget spinner. Look at this, 1 lobe, 2 lobe, 3 lobes, 3 lobe fidget spinner, a 3 lobe fidget spinner. Wish I had the webcam on tonight. You can see my face as I try to say that. The height anomalies, there's that potent little sucker right there in Montana. And again, there's one wave and lobe of colder air that moves through by tomorrow. Then here comes the mother load of colder air. Here comes the actual polar vortex. Notice we absorb the system out to the west. Kind of gets drawn up in the overall flow and sheared out here because this is just taken over. And you can see the negative height anomalies take up so much real estate here. Then it pinwheels around for Saturday. Still think this is a lot of confluence. Saturday will be gorgeous outside of the fact by the afternoon. Nice blue sky, but it's going to be some kind of windy here with that confluence there and that temperature gradient getting stronger and then the cold air moving in and sinking. Saturday evening and the Sunday, again, there's that next lobe here. And look, comes another one. It's just spiraling around itself here. So just the timing of these individual pieces here will be key to the local forecast where you're at, wherever you're watching from. But it's just going to be, it's going to stay cooler than normal. This pattern, this ugly blocking pattern is doing its business here. Then we go into Wednesday. We were looking at much more, a bigger warm up. And this is a warmer pattern. Don't get me wrong for Wednesday, but it's not tremendously warmer because you've got to watch out in the Northeast this time of the year. When you get any little short wave, any time of the year really, that moves across the Northeast, like that one right there in New York, you're going to have a weak high built in behind that at the surface, and that may keep your warmer temperatures back on the west side of the Appalachians. That's something you always watch for. Watch for short waves coming across the Great Lakes in the Northeast over this pattern that's trying to warm up next Wednesday. It tries, and I think it will eventually succeed here by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. You can see that nice ridge, and we want the axis to be east of the coast. We want it kind of either over us or a little bit to the east here, because we are on the west side or the east side right here. The ridges to the west, you still have this surface high out here underneath that confluence. Then it's kind of looking for fun. Beyond that, it's a reversal here that the models continue to try to advertise. We'll see about this, right? We'll see. So that's it. It's going to stay cool. It's going to get colder as we go into the weekend. There's a look at the national map. Have a good night, everybody.